Yo, I honestly do not get how the hell it is these shorties decide to put such an expensive ass weave on a head that can't handle no math. How the hell are they gonna balance those figures though? Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast channel, giving you the best in break time podcast shows. Damn, I think I've used break time a little too much on that intro though. Anyways, I'll edit that out. It is episode 11 of Last Week Was Fucked, because let's be honest, it clearly was, judging by the kind of news that I'm bringing through. Except for one thing though. The Rugby World Cup started. And, I'm not saying this is a good thing because I watch rugby, because I don't. I'm actually not the biggest fan of it. But I have to throw some love back to my ladies. All these ladies that are huge fans of rugby. Like, y'all that are fans of rugby, not because the sport is good, but because y'all just thirst over big niggas. Yeah, we see you. And, also for my niggas that seem to be big fans of rugby. Like, mad shout out to my brother Elvis. Elvis is a massive fan of rugby. So yeah, mad shout out to you. And yes, Rugby World Cup is happening, so you can probably hop onto that. But anyways, on to actual news, besides Friday's news of the Rugby World Cup. Indonesia is planning to place a ban on sex. And not just regular sex, premarital sex, aka fornicating, aka the shit that we usually do before we get married when we're Netflix and chilling. They want to ban that in Indonesia. And I'm thinking about it in the sense of, how the hell can they do that? Because it's not like the cops pretty much will put, CCTV cameras everywhere and then be like, so we saw you fornicating. We will take you to like the police station and charge you as a crime or some shit. Because, well, one, it hasn't been passed into law yet. Two, you can't exactly put CCTV cameras everywhere. But at the same time, they are kind of going along with it and adding the fact that, they're prohibiting gay sex and all. Because apparently they're supposed to be bringing it in the name of, a blasphemy law. Or should I say blasphemy laws? Meaning that it would kind of mean that, you can't insult or make fun of the president. You can't have gay sex. You can't have, premarital sex. So you have to be married. So all of you niggas that like to say, oh, you like to test drive the car before we, own it. That kind of work if you're in Indonesia. So if you're a Kenyan and you're hearing this and you're in Indonesia, I'm sorry. Yeah, y'all are just going to have to come back here to continue fucking. But with respect to that though, as much as they're bringing that, and it's been backed by religious conservationists one way or another, it benefits them. Christians are all about, don't do premarital sex, blah, blah, blah. Except, some of these very tiny, very clique-ish religious groups that no one ever knows about. And for some reason, they exist widely in Kenya. There is nothing wrong with premarital sex if you're not tied to any religious entity. If you're not tied to any religious entity, there's nothing really wrong with it. But, the fact that that a lot of us are Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, we're belonging to some sort of religious faction of sorts or religious society, it means that, it's supposedly prohibited. But then again, we're like, you know what? We're in 2019. Everyone's doing that shit. So we still fuck around. I'm sure some people, if they lived in Indonesia, would kind of get scared at this point, because you think about it, like, imagine an Indonesian now deciding that he's not going to be sleeping with his girlfriend because he fears he's going to get arrested. Like, these guys are going to move to Quickies now. And I'm not saying that this is a good or a bad thing. I'm just trying to say that, Xvideos is going to end up with 3-minute porn from Indonesia because these guys are fearing, getting caught by the government. Because like, you find that there's stories about, people in villages being arrested because apparently they, quote unquote, spent too much time with the opposite sex. Like, what the fuck? Like, how the hell is it that you're gonna allow someone to come and arrest you because apparently you're spending a lot of time with someone of the opposite sex? And, you kind of start to appreciate some of the freedoms that you have as, like, in my case and in a lot of the listeners' cases, a Kenyan, you're allowed to talk to whomever you want. You're allowed to sleep with whoever you want. Well, as long as you're not caught sleeping with another man if you're a man, or another woman if you're a woman. It's not really that big of an issue. But when you kind of look at some other parts of the world, you attempt that shit. Like, you are going to have your balls snipped and shit. Like, that's part of like Sharia law and shit. Like, you're not supposed to get too close to the opposite sex for some reason. Like, well, my information can be a bit skewed, don't quote me on this, but you kind of start to appreciate some of your freedoms. And to be very honest, if these guys are going to continue with it, honestly, I am not going to say that I wish them the best. I still think that some people need to be test driven, especially since, you know, there are some people that claim that they're the kings when it comes to bedroom matters. But when they go there, they are the pet. They feel like they're the beast, but they become the pet when they go there. And, you know, some people from the Small Dick Association need to defend themselves, you know, prove that they have more to offer than just small dick. Anyways, that aside, it's about time we move on. Now, in Africa, I'm not gonna lie, we do not have the best security enforcement or systems on the planet. Not all of our cities are the safest. I will not lie, Nairobi isn't ranked very highly. But if there's a place that's very well known for not being very safe, as well as not being very, you know, anti-corrupt, it's Nigeria. But apparently the chief of police in Nigeria claims that Abuja is one of the safest cities in the world. Now, that's a pretty huge claim when you think about it. Because you're looking at places like Singapore, Oslo, Norway. You're looking at places like Tokyo, Japan and shit. And like those places are so safe. You know, like Norway is such a happy country. Because like, you know, studies have been done. It's such a happy country. If you went and you jacked someone's car, I'm not sure they'd treat you badly. Like, these guys will probably take you, you know, talk to you, and they're like, you know what? It's not good that you did that. You should probably go for counseling so that you can kill your kleptomania behaviors. And then they'll probably let you go. But like, yo, have you ever tried being caught by like Kenyan police? These guys will harass the living shits out of you. Like, hell, there was a time when a policeman tried to get a ride from me. And I was coming from school. I was driving home. And this guy tried to wave me down. Yo, me in my head, I'm like, yo, I am not getting caught for shit. I sped the fuck up. Like, us guys are afraid of our police like that. Plus, you know, there's the level of corruption that happens in police stations and so on. So it kind of makes sense why we wouldn't feel very safe with our policemen. Especially since some of them actually loan out their guns to the thugs. Like, I will not even sugarcoat that. This is shit that actually happens. But now, we know that Nigeria is worse. We know that Nigeria is worse at a lot of things. You know, their music is good, but they're a lot worse in a lot of things. Security being one of them. So these guys will come through and they'll be like, you know, we have really safe security. According to studies by different organizations based on security, and I actually decided to take some time and look at it. Nigeria is the leading in terms of security, but from like the bottom end of the list. It's one of the least safest places to be on the planet. And, you know, like, even when it's categorized based on cities, Lagos is pretty much like one of the worst, if not the worst. And Abuja, as much as it's not featured in all of them, will still pop up around there somewhere. Because when it comes to, you know, number of, you know, hundred thousands of murders that have happened in different cities, Abuja, Lagos, Nairobi, they all kind of classify somewhere. But for some reason, Abuja and Lagos still come out on top. So when a guy comes up to say that, you know, you kind of understand that Nigerians are very good at lying to you. They like to sugarcoat shit. Anyone who's been hit on by a Nigerian, by there, like, you all know that these guys will sugarcoat shit for you. They will promise you all sorts of shit. They will get you the stars. They will buy you money. Although that's usually a term that they prefer to use when they're climaxing or some shit. They claim that they'll get you a house, a car, a chopper if you want. They'll spoil you. Of which I've been told that shit only lasts about a month. Yeah, if you put a baby in you, you're fucked. I'm sorry. But you think about it though. Like, these guys have sugarcoated shit so well. You know, they have scammed people. And now they want to scam the world. But, you know, clearly studies show that it is not in their favor. So it's kind of understandable that they'd say that, you know, they are, you know, some of the safest, but, you know, from the wrong end of the scale. That aside, Now, I'm gonna come out and say this. I think people go a little too far when it comes to things like a proposal. And I'm saying this because, some shit happened in Tanzania sometime last week. A man apparently drowned underwater because this guy was going above and beyond to give the best marriage proposal ever. Like, people have proposed in different places. Paris, the Eiffel Tower has become almost a norm. Like, that shit used to be special. Now it's becoming a norm. So you all should get that people now are pushing bounds. Famous blogger, this is S, or Sharon Mundia, was proposed at some very, very nice scenic location somewhere in Kenya. I honestly never gave a fuck, so I don't even know where it is. Some people have been proposed to on a luxury cruise ship. Some people have been proposed to in some of the funniest places on planet Earth. But, I was talking to a lady recently who was even saying, don't even do it at a restaurant. It's so cliche. And in my head, I'm like, just take the fucking proposal. Mad shout out to Jemo. Jemo's one of my homies. He proposed to his shorty in the nicest way ever. He put the ring in an avocado and he told her, just go get the avocado. And, pop the avocado, saw the ring there. Shorty was happy. Shorty appreciated that shit. Yes, I might have screwed a couple of details here and there, but the fact is, he proposed using an avocado. Like, that is just simple and smart and shit. But now, so as people are busy trying to go above and beyond, there's a certain American man. His name is Steven Weber. Now, Steven Weber took his girlfriend, Kenisha Antoine, to a resort called Manta off Pemba Island. Pemba Island's beautiful, by the way. They have some really, 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 really nice hotels. They're a really lovely place in Tanzania. Now, they went to this underwater hotel. They stayed there for a bit. So this guy decides to pop the question in what I'd call one of the worst ways ever. He kind of went back up and then went into the water, went diving in, went and he put up a note that he had talking about how he loves her, blah, blah, blah. And then pops the question on that piece of note. And then he pulls out the ring. So, this guy, as he did that, he ended up drowning and he died. That's the short version of the story. Sorry to make it sad for some of you. But while that was happening, though, this woman claims that, she said yes, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get to hear her answer because she said 1,000,000 times yes. And now a nigga's dead because of that. And now you're wondering, what lengths are we taking to go and get this shit done, though? What lengths are we taking? And the way I see it, I'd probably blame the woman for this, because bitches like to hold on to the moment. She's gonna breathe. She'll be like, oh my goodness, oh my word, he's actually proposing. And then you end up saying yes after this guy is busy losing air. I'm not gonna start saying bitch some shit. I'm gonna be nice about this, because I know you just lost your fiance or, your boyfriend. So I'm gonna say it like this. You should have probably said yes quicker. I'm not trying to clown on the dead. I'm not trying to make fun of you or anything, but if you'd have seen this guy pull the ring, you just say yes, get the fuck out. Because I bet this guy probably ended up drowning because she took too long just savoring the moment, say yes and shit. Anyways, that aside though, on a slightly lighter note, there is a zebra called Tira that was, born with a lot of melanin in his system. Clearly the black didn't crack with this one, because he looks more 101 Dalmatians than a zebra. Because this zebra doesn't exactly have stripes. It has white dots. So yes, this is the first time where I'll say, Kenyan black privilege is reigning supreme. It has gotten to the animal. The animal is more black than white. So that is a celebration for us Kenyans. But anyways, while I'm busy trying to celebrate on this one, I bet it's about time you get back to that work. Always put that process in that progress, or be the prevention. It has been me, Sir Denver B, on Last Week Was Fucked. If you want to hit us up on our IG, it is at breaktime_westside. On Twitter, you can hit me up at Bagaka the D, and on Facebook also at breaktime on Westside. I will see you guys later.